Good afternoon. Welcome to All About Animals. I'm Sherry Gradator. And my guest today is Danny Scher. And if you follow the show, you've met Danny before. Danny is the founder and president of an organization called Save a Vet, which may be confusing for you when you see me show dogs from Save a Pet. This is Save a Vet. Danny, what is Save a Vet all about?
We take the military and police dogs that are deemed unsuitable for adoption, the ones that are typically trained in aggression or have injuries which make them aggressive and are supposed to be euthanized, and then we hire disabled veterans to take care of them. Their payment for working for the organization is rent-free housing. It's nice and simple, nice and cut and dry.
Nice and cut and dry, and at this point you're working on putting your first building together.
Yes, we are out in Zion, Illinois.
Okay. It's a beautiful concept.
It is.
It benefits the animals, and I don't think people out there are aware of the fact that so many of the dogs that come back cannot safely be adopted out. Which is not to say that the Department of the Army doesn't try to place these dogs in homes, because they do, don't they?
Not at all. And it's not just the Army and the Air Force. For example, we just got in a canine from Homeland Security. She was narcotics on the border, and she came down with some temperament issues, ate her own tail, started turning aggressive. So instead of euthanizing her, they actually called us and asked us to take her. Mm-hmm. And she's doing wonderful now.
Yeah, you said you've been working with her. Mm-hmm. What did you say? She came in and she had no tail and she was emaciated?
She came in, and it wasn't Homeland Security's fault. They did the best they can with what they could. They're just not set up to care for these types of animals. So that's why they call us. But when she came to us, she had a cone around her neck. It took all the fur off her neck because of how long she was in it. Her back was shaved from surgery. Her legs were shaved from IVs. Half her tail was gone. She would chew it first chance she get. She even had a neck brace, including the comb, because of how strong and smart she was. Plus, she came to us on over 24 pills a day. Now we have her out of the neck brace and cone. We cut off the rest of the tail, so there's nothing for her to grab. And we have a custom-made vest that have rods going down the center so she can't turn all the way. And we have her down to 1 pill. Our trainer's pretty confident by middle of winter we should have her out of the vest and back to just being a normal pet.
Fantastic.
She's doing great.
And then we've got Nero here, who is examining my yard.
He's wandering around somewhere.
Yeah, he's right behind us. I don't know. He'll get on camera at some point. He's having a wonderful time checking out the action here. Mm-hmm. And he was, again, an injured dog, wasn't he?
He was injured in Iraq. He was bomb detection for the Navy. Nero was a milestone for us. Typically, in the past, when we wanted a canine, we had to fight for it. Navy actually called us and asked us to take Nero. They tried to adopt him to a couple former handlers, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So as a last resort, which we are for the military, they called us and asked us to take him. He's been with us for almost 3 years now. He's doing great.
He's a wonderful boy.
Yes.
He's been to my house before. He has watered my house before, very frankly. But he is, except he's sensitive about handling on the back end.
It's typical. A human injury, same thing. Don't touch his back, don't step on his paws, and leave him alone when he's lying down. And other than that, he'll never hurt you.
And yeah, I know, because he's had his head in my lap a few times already. So he turned my treats down today. So we are at the stage now where you have your land, and you have your architecture drawings.
Yes.
And the plans have been approved.
They're great plans too. They actually they meet or exceed all DoD security standards.
DoD being Department of Defense.
Correct. They're 100% handicap accessible. Any building that has a second floor has a handicap ramp, a staircase, and an elevator. So we're real proud of those.
And from what I remember of the plans, you were going to have, what, a restaurant or a store downstairs, something?
Depending on the town that we're in and what they'll give us, then we'll turn those rooms into what we're allowed to. But the building is designed to have a 3,000 square foot indoor memorial for all the military dogs that have been killed in action, 2 banquet halls, and a small little store to help raise money for the organization.
And a kennel.
That's the fun part. This property in Zion, it's 2.5 acres, that would house 25 disabled vets and 48 canines. The kennels are 400 square feet apiece, indoor and outdoor, so the dog can come and go as they want. And the bedrooms where the veterans live are a minimum of 350 square feet, handicap bathroom, handicap closet per room.
Perfect.
So they're not by any means slum houses. They're actually better than anything I would ever own.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you get a vet who's got room that they're not paying for, basically pension and whatever else will cover their expenses because they don't have to pay rent.
Correct. I make $1,009 a month. That's my disability. That's what I live off of. I can afford to do that because Save a Vet helps me out. I drive a Save a Vet vehicle. I have a Save a Vet cell phone. So things that I don't have to cover cost on make it so I can actually live off the $1,000 that I make.
And let's say that $1,000 comes from the Army from when you were overseas.
Correct.
Yes. So we have plans.
We do. They're on our website.
We have a fundraiser coming up.
We have one September 9th at the Italian Kitchen in Deerfield. It's $20 in advance, $25 at the door. We're going to max out 1,000 people. If you've never been to the Italian Kitchen, Tony is an amazing chef. They make everything from scratch. If you order lasagna, it takes 40 minutes because they cook the lasagna for you. Nothing is pre-made. So he's going to be serving a 3-course meal. That particular fundraiser we're excited about because we're doing it with the Northern Illinois Police Canine Memorial Fund, which is putting a memorial up in Libertyville for all the police canines that were killed in action in this general area. So we're actually going to split the fundraising with them.
That's fantastic.
They're good. They're doing a great thing.
Yeah. Okay, and there was another thing that we were discussing, and it needs to be said, because I don't think we've ever said it on this show, very frankly, and that is that your financials are online.
Yes, we're not big enough to be on companies like Charity Navigator or GuideStars, so we put our financials on our website. They're under our reports, right next to the decommission reports for military dogs. In 5 years, we've been 100% volunteer. We've always had our financials on our website. We take no government funding, and to date, we've only taken American-owned companies as sponsors, all of which is on our website. We do have some sponsors that have parent companies that are foreign. For instance, Purina Farms. Purina is not an American company, but Purina Farms is one location in Missouri, and it's 100% American run, so we do take them as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm. So you're basically accepting support only and solely from American companies or American-based companies.
Or American-made product. We'll take support from anybody, but we will only promote American-owned, American-made companies.
Okay, now we're going to talk about needs, because I think that's really the biggest thing that we want to get across right now. The first need, of course, is always dollars. Dollars to build when building can be done. But right now, building is kind of stuck and frozen because of a lack. Danny, you're on.
We need a structural engineer that will redo our plans, which aren't that hard because they're built to DoD security specs, so they're pretty cut and dry, and then stamp off on it. The problem with finding a structural engineer that will donate their time, it's not necessarily the funding, it's that their license per se is on the line until that project is done. The good thing about this is how every floor, wall, ceiling is reinforced concrete. There's not much that can go wrong if it's designed right, but you still need to find a firm that's willing to do that. So we're looking for a structural engineer that would like to donate their time, a friend, a family that you think is a structural engineer. If you know someone that's an architect, call them. They probably work with one.
A retired structural engineer who's kept his license in.
We've just been unable to find that. The great thing is we have so many sponsors lined up. We have a sponsor that's going to do the excavation for us the minute we get the permits. We can get part of the foundation poured. We have another company that's actually talking about donating 30% of the building cost in materials.
Wow.
But they won't do it until they see that we have permits in hand, which we can't get without a structural engineer.
Okay.
So that's the next step.
So the fundraising, and I know that you work harder than any human being I know doing funds. I know that personally, because we've kind of been involved a little bit.
You have, big time.
And so I know what you're trying to do here with regard to funds, and the building will probably not be the issue. And I know that you're getting cooperation on permits, both from the county and from the city.
The county's been extremely supportive.
Yeah.
So.
And the city has also been supportive,
Yes.
helping you get everything that you needed to get this in place. So basically, agencies of government are working with you, and they want this.
Not only is it great for the two-legged and four-legged veterans, but it's actually great for the communities. The property in Zion, the city of Zion is having some financial trouble. It's public record, everybody knows. It's not huge, they're just, the economy is hitting them hard too. This would generate between $25,000 and $100,000 of income being spent within Zion every month, because every veteran that works for us makes at least $1,000 to $4,000 a month, and they spend that where they live. So this would actually help boost the local businesses in Zion as well. The cities know this, and they're trying to work with us and trying to help us.
And it's an honor to have this kind of a program, Dan. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This is a remarkable program. It is a unique program. It is a beautiful program. And I don't know of a city that would not be proud to have you in it.
We're actually talking to the commissioner for Gary, Indiana. They want to actually rebuild their community, and they're talking about giving us different properties within their cities to help with that, help rebuild it by bringing in veterans, cleaning up the neighborhoods, showing the presence of retired military and law enforcement. I mean, we have cities calling us that want to get involved, but again, they want to see plans. which need to be stamped off by a structural engineer. Even though they haven't asked for it, they've asked for plans, we know that they're going to require the same thing that every other town's going to want.
Except that now when you go out of state, you're probably going to need somebody from out of state to be a structural engineer.
We will, but if we have one from this state, we can show them and they'll be able to see it, and we'll start looking then, but we can't show them the plans we have now because it's not what any city wants to see because of the size of the buildings.
And I also suspect, Danny, very frankly, that all of these cities that want you would like to see the pudding proved before they go taste it.
Yep. We've only had one town that has shown interest with us having our first facility up and running, and that town's about 80% military and law enforcement veterans. So.
But it's all in place, folks. Everything is together. The location, the site is there, the land is owned. The companies that are working with Save a Vet are coming forward proudly and are honored to be able to work with an organization that does so much good. Now, this show is all about animals, and we are all about animals here.
Yep.
And we're talking about animal veterans. We're also talking about humans and humanity, and taking care of the people who are out there and have spent their lives, or a significant portion thereof, taking care of us. This is an opportunity to help an organization which can both help the dogs,
yes,
and help the people who have sacrificed and who have never come to us with a handout saying, hey, I sacrificed, do for me, who just go on and maybe need a little help. And Dan, you're putting together a program that can help. I am so impressed, I can't begin to tell you.
Thank you.
So, we are running out of time. Give people a website, a phone number.
Our office number is 815-349-9647. I've kicked myself for doing this before, but my cell phone number, 815-388-3253. And our website is saveavet.org, with or without the dashes. You get there both ways.
And it's got fascinating stuff on it, by the way, about the animals.
We try to keep it updated with articles worldwide about different military dogs that are getting adopted out to good homes, stories that are going on with dogs saving lives or doing detections overseas. We keep that updated on a daily basis. It's
a great website to go and look at just when you need a little bit of an uplift. Danny, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Hopefully someone out there can help. Best way I can think of is to reach out to all of you who love animals and watch the show. We're now going to take you to Save a Pet and show you some of the dogs and cats who are waiting there for adoption.